Hello and welcome or welcome back. Today we're just going to be playing some more Killing Floor 1 and just talking about stuff. So yeah, I'll stop rambling and we'll get right into it. Ooh. I keep forgetting that I start with a weapon, like a real weapon in this mod. Anyway, thank you all for chilling, by the way, as always. I know I've played this map a couple times before, but I really enjoy it, and it's actually kind of fitting for, oh my goodness, today's subject. So yeah, let's just warm up a little bit. It's been the weekend pretty much. Dinner, 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 dinner. Oh no, I gotta turn my headphones down. There we go. Anyway, yeah. Oh wow, it's already pretty much done. That's the way I like it. Bop. Yeah. I have no idea what that shit says down there when it pops up. Sometimes I see like a scaling increase and stuff like that. I'm like, I wonder if this mod adjusts the difficulty, like to however good or bad you're doing. I don't know. Woo. That guy just moved a lot faster than I thought he was going to. But anyway, I was planning on like talking about I guess what would be kind of like a forgotten Stallone movie, but I guess I'll save that for another time. Last night I watched, it's on Max, or HBO, or whatever the fuck they call it nowadays, but I thought I saw you, okay. The Mortician, it's just a docu-series. I think it's just 3 episodes. I don't know if there's going to be any more coming out, but it was pretty good, and like, the guy's kind of a moron. I'll get into that. I don't know if he's so much more like dumb as he is like, what the fuck's going on here? Oh. Yeah, I don't know if the guy's like more dumb or if he just kind of wants to get caught, so he's like, I don't know. He's already known for the shit that he did, so he was the guy that really made things change in like the what would it be, like the funeral business, the mortuary business, because he would sit there and stack bodies on top of bodies on top of bodies and burn them. You know, he was that guy. He was the guy. I remember hearing about this shit like just throughout the years, you know, just references to the Lamb funeral home or whatever. They're in California. I want to say like Pasadena or something like that. And yeah, no, they've been around for a minute, and that family was like really like respected, but apparently they're all a bunch of slime balls. And I think I could say that without without worrying about it. I mean, I'd say whatever the fuck I want anyway. Go ahead and sue me. What the fuck are you gonna get out of me? Absolutely nothing. I have nothing. You want my 15-year-old laptop? Go ahead. Jesus. But anyway. What the fuck? I hear it like right in my... Right there. Okay, I thought it was right in my ear before, and then it was in my ear. That was pretty good. Anyway, yeah, no, this family was like a prominent family in that field for a long time, and apparently there was a lot of slimy goings on. You know, our organ harvesting. They would rip the teeth out of bodies that had gold fillings or gold teeth or whatever, you know, and smash the teeth and get the gold. You know, like they were pretty. They didn't care. They didn't care at all about, you know, a body after the person had passed. You know what I mean? They didn't look at it as being a human anymore. And you know, there was a part later on in the documentary that kind of pissed me off a little bit. He started crying about his grandparents dying. And I'm just like, oh, would you throw them in a fucking oven with a bunch of strangers, you fucking cunt? You know, like that guy deserves everything that's going to him. Like at first when I'm watching it, I'm like, wow, I hope this guy fucking gets AIDS. And then I'm like, nah, he's suffering, he's paying for it, and then he's also implicating himself even more because he's a fucking idiot. Did you guys ever see that Jinx? But yeah, no, did you guys see? If you saw that Jinx, you know what I'm talking about. That show, the Jinx, it was like the same vein almost with that Robert Durst guy. It's a different story. I think I've talked about it and probably will talk about it again. At some point, you know, I'll probably rewatch the whole thing because they did come up with an update a while ago. I watched it. Pretty sure I talked about it, but I don't think I like talked about everything at once. I don't know. Sometimes you gotta just, I don't know, find content where it is. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't want to talk about shit that interests me. You know, like, and maybe hopefully interests you. Like I like kind of like true crime shit. Like I wouldn't mind talking about it, doing this and like talking about it for like 15, 20 minutes every now and again. You know, but I'll keep it interesting if I ever do that. But anyway, yeah, this family apparently the mother, what was her name, Lorraine, I think. She seemed like such a sweetheart, right? But she was one of those fakest, like probably the ringleader level of fake. And I'm like, oh man, I was like, that's so predictable, like so on the nose. But then again, this is such an old story. The reason why it is probably predictable to somebody like me, right, is because, you know, I mean, I do remember a lot of shit, references in pop culture and in the news and all this stuff just over the years. I wasn't alive when they were doing all this shit. I mean, they mostly did it in the 80s, I believe. Maybe some in the 90s, but I don't know. I was born in 90, so do with that, whatever. Well, to kind of start, I guess, with, like, where it kind of gets interesting with him. Here we go. You guys know. Thumbnail time. From like I kind of starting from like where it gets interesting, the beginning-ish, right? You know, he was obviously born into a family of morticians and, you know, funeral homeowners. Like the mom would take care of the families and play the organ and all that stuff. You know, she would do the counseling and all this other stuff. I don't really remember what the dad did. I think he just, you know, did the normal, I don't know, funeral directing type shit. I don't know. And then the grandfather was still alive for a while, the guy that started it. But I guess that's not really too important. But they gave their son, David Scans, they gave him like pretty much the crematorium, right? Like they gave him that job, and you know he was smart about it at first. Like he undercut like every other place, right? Like he was doing it significantly cheaper and doing a good job at first, right? But then he was just like, he was getting such like output, right? He was getting a lot because people were going to him because he was a lot cheaper than anybody else. And well, he could, you know, he had to adjust somehow, I guess, without upgrading his premises. Yeah, so he you know, getting all this output, he can't keep up with it. It takes about 2 hours about 2 hours probably from beginning to finish. From what I understand, what they said, to cremate a body completely. You know, you have to let everything cool off and, you know, all that stuff. So like obviously he couldn't keep up with it. I'll keep repeating that, I guess. Well, he hired these guys, like these big dudes, or like ex-gangbangers. There was a couple of ex-gangbangers that would just sit and smoke crack all day, or rock cocaine is what they call it. You know, so they were getting paid good to go and pick up bodies and then load them up into the furnaces, right? Well, at first it was just like, well, we could fit 2 or 3 at a time. It's just fine. You know, and then it went to, you could put in about 10 of them because the timing only goes up about a half hour or so. You know, it's not really like it's not like you put in double the bodies, you have to do double the time. You know what I mean? That's obviously the reason why he was doing it. So eventually he was having competitions with his employees of who can fit the most bodies, because he had 2 ovens. He was just like, all right, well, let's do a head-to-head. Who could fit the most bodies in there? And apparently the guy was super disrespectful with the bodies. Smack them around, like pick them up one on each, like under each arm, you know what I mean, and then just walk around with them. He would like, you know, break the bodies to get into the oven and everything like that. He was a really sick fuck. He's still around, he's still alive, and he talks about it openly, and it's very infuriating. But then you hear him talk and you hear him tell his story. Nobody likes the guy. Nobody. The guy's a piece of shit. Yeah, and like I said before, it's not even really him, dude. Like, they had an organ harvesting farm, and what they had is in their contract that probably grieving people aren't going to read the fine print of. Plus, it's in the middle of a paragraph, right? That they can take whatever tissue they want. And if you know what that is, when I think of tissue, I think anything other than like hair and bone, but I think that's just a general term for just like any part of your body, right? Because they were taking everything. They would harvest. They harvested people that shouldn't have been. Obviously, that nobody gave them consent, but technically they did get consent because it's just a slimy fucking contract, Like that's just so woo shit. Holy fuck. Maybe it's not the best gun to use. It's a good gun. It just, I feel like there's better things I could be using to clear. And I don't think I have anything else, do I? Not really. Fuck you. Yeah. Yeah, they pretty much did all of it. Like they what is it, the corneas, right, or whatever? The eyes. Sometimes they would just scoop the eyes out. They did not care. They didn't look at you as being a human anymore after you're dead, which is just ridiculous. I mean, like I said before, he cried about his grandparents dying when he was like in jail or something. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, would you put them in a fucking oven with fucking random people, or would you take care of their bodies, you fucking selfish cunt? It's people like him. I hope he lives to be 100 years old. I hope he lives to be 100 years old and his body just refuses to quit and he's in pain the entire time. Fuck that guy. Piece of shit. Makes me angry. That shit makes me mad. It's like the least you could do in life is not be a total piece of shit cunt, right? And then seeing like the families of the people, that was just sad because they're holding, boxes of ashes that are just it's multiple people in there because the guy thinks that it's nothing, right? Like, it's ridiculous. I don't know. Like, there are some people out there that feel the same way, but it's just like, I don't know, touch grass. Have you seen a fucking dead relative, like, in front of you? Have you had that kind of trauma? Have you ever had anything relative to that? Like, I don't know. Maybe, like, think. Use your fucking brain. I don't know. There are some people out there that just lack any sort of empathy. But that's not, I don't know, whatever. But then, like, so seeing them is just all fucked up. But what was even more crazy is, like, I said that he's, like, implicating himself more. He already spent time in jail. Like, his parents even got 3 years apiece, and, so, yeah, like, it's all fucking fact what happened. The guy openly admits it. I think the only people that would deny it, his mother's still alive. She looks like a bitter old bitch. After faking being like the nicest person in the world, she's probably super exhausted. She looks like just she kind of reminds me of Tina. Do you know Tina from fucking Lolcow? That's what she reminds me of now. She may not be as fat, but that's what she reminds me of. They didn't interview her, but they definitely got some fucking footage of her. Well, supposedly. It could possibly not be her, but I mean, I don't know. It looks enough like her, but I feel like that could have done better against him, but whatever. Well, him implicating himself, and apparently a couple of murders. Yeah, the guy is just a fucking genius. Like Robert Durst was just like, he was in the bathroom and he was still mic'd up and he was just like, I did it. I killed them all. All this shit. Like they got him fucking dead to rights, dude. Recorded. Admitting it to himself, but he was still admitting it. Yeah, apparently, like, he, against competitors, he had, like, I told you he hired these dudes. Well, they were a bunch of big guys, right? And they were like his goons, kind of. Well, he would send them over to his competitors and fucking have them beaten up. And he would always threaten to kill people, and one guy that they got, that they beat to death, they didn't beat him, but they beat him up. But then later, I'll tell you what happened. He got beaten pretty bad. They show pictures of it. But then, like, after he's healed up, I believe, supposedly, or allegedly, whatever, fucking Sconce took him to lunch to an Italian place, I believe, and put oleander extract in his like salad or spaghetti or whatever. I don't know. There's two. One guy said spaghetti, and the other guy said, which I kind of believe this guy put it in his salad. He was just like, the guy was, it was like a vinegar and something salad, you know? So it already had a bitter taste to it. Apparently oleander is kind of bitter. So I don't know. I kind of believe that a little bit. I mean, not to say that spaghetti sauce would probably cover that up, but I don't know. That's not what this is about. My brain's wandering. I don't know. Leave me alone. And then there was shit. Then there was I know that there was one guy that he attempted to have killed, but the guy that was going to do it ended up getting pulled over and arrested, I guess, before he had a chance to do it. And so that guy's lucky as hell. They had him in. They were interviewing him. You know, he seems like an all right dude. He's another person that's in the trade, and you know, I believe that's a necessary service, man. You know what I mean? Like, I've always looked at it that way. That shit's necessary. Oh my goodness. It takes a special kind of person to be able to do that stuff and do it honestly, and yeah. So I mean, I have respect for it. Just because this guy's a douchebag doesn't make me think anything about the rest of them. There's gonna be a few bad eggs everywhere in every trade. It's just the way it is. Well, the way this guy like implicated himself or whatever is at the end, like the producer. He told something to the producer after the cameraman was like, I gotta refresh this or something like that. So I'm assuming that the dude was just like thinking that he wasn't being recorded. And he kind of just soft admitted to like, you know, taking out, well, there's three. And he was like smiling and you know what I mean? Like he was an idiot. He was an arrogant idiot. Let's see how the flamethrower does it. On this, in the mod, we might die. Let's try not to, though. Yeah! Fuck yeah! Oh, flamethrower's OP. Can we get it? Oh! We couldn't get it. Hell yeah, boy. Here you go. Cremated the patriarch. Well, if you stuck around this long, I really appreciate you. Yeah, I don't know. Did you see that? It was pretty interesting. You know, I saw it advertised on there for a while now. I think it came out this year, but I just don't know when. And I was like, I was waiting for more to come. But there's only three like hour-long episodes, and I was just like, I thought there would be more to it, but I guess not. It's good though. I'd give it a watch. I don't know. Yeah, you got any suggestions? Similar things? I'll check it out. You know, I kind of enjoy shit like this, true crime and just interesting stories. Like example would be like Mayhem. I love that, like the Mayhem story. You know, the black metal band, the Norwegian black metal band. That's interesting. Like that kind of stuff. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll talk about that kind of shit in the future. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's whatever I feel like, right? But anyway, I'll stop ranting and rambling and let you get on with your day or night. If you would just please consider doing all the things that YouTube likes and that I appreciate very, very much. Thank you so much for hanging out. It really does mean the world to me. You have a good one, and I'll catch you on the next one.